The Solivagant's Covenant. In the far reaches of a universe uncharted by human eyes, there existed a planet known as Atheron, a world of crystalline seas and skies that shimmered with hues unknown to earthly spectrums. Atheron was not merely a place, it was an entity, alive in ways that defied comprehension. Its mountains pulsed faintly like heartbeats, its rivers whispered in languages older than time itself, and its forests exhaled breaths that carried the scent of eternity. To this enigmatic world came a solitary traveler, a Solivagant named Kaelion. He was neither young nor old, his face bearing the timeless weariness of one who had journeyed across countless stars. His ship, a vessel forged from obsidian-like material, landed softly on the iridescent sands of Atheron's shore. Kaelion stepped out, his boots sinking slightly into the ground as though the planet were testing his weight, his intent. Kaelion was not here by accident. He had followed an ancient signal, a pulse encoded in mathematical harmonies, that had reached him through the void. It was said to be a call of accord, an invitation sent only to those who sought answers beyond science and faith alike. For Kaelion, whose soul bore scars from wars fought over both, this call was irresistible. As Kaelion ventured deeper into Atheron's terrain, he noticed how the environment seemed to respond to his presence. The trees bent slightly toward him as if listening. Stones rearranged themselves subtly underfoot to guide his path. Finally, he arrived at what could only be described as a nexus, a vast clearing where every element of nature converged harmoniously, waterfalls cascading into pools that reflected galaxies above, flora glowing faintly with bioluminescence. It was here that Atheron spoke, not in words but through sensations and visions imprinted directly onto Kaelion's mind. "You have come seeking truth," it conveyed, its tone neither welcoming nor hostile, but profoundly neutral. But truth is not given, it is exchanged. Kaelion knelt instinctively before this unseen force. "What must I offer?" he asked aloud, though he knew Atheron would hear him regardless. "Your certainty," came the reply. Kaelion frowned. A certainty? He thought himself devoid of such arrogance after years spent unraveling mysteries only to find more questions beneath them. "I do not understand," he admitted finally. Atheron responded with patience born of millennia. "Certainty is not knowledge. It is the illusion that you possess all there is to know about yourself or your purpose." With these cryptic words lingering in his mind like an unsolved equation, Kaelion found himself drawn toward a cavern at the edge of the nexus, a place where light refracted endlessly off walls made entirely of polished crystal. As he entered, he saw his reflection multiply infinitely around him, hundreds upon thousands of versions staring back with expressions ranging from sorrowful to wrathful to serene. "This is your trial," Atheron's voice echoed within him once more. "Each reflection represents a fragment of your being, choices made and paths forsaken." Kaelion approached one reflection cautiously. It showed him as a conqueror clad in armor stained with bloodshed from battles waged long ago on distant worlds. Another depicted him as a hermit meditating alone atop some desolate peak while civilizations crumble below unnoticed by his gaze. "Which one is true?" he asked aloud. "All are true," answered Atheron solemnly. "And none are complete." Kaelion felt frustration rise within him like bile but forced himself to confront another reflection, this one showing him embracing someone whose face was blurred yet familiar enough to stir longing deep within his chest. "What does this mean?" he demanded desperately now. "It means you have forgotten what binds you, to others and yourself alike." Kaelion's struggle with the reflections stretched beyond time, his mind caught in a labyrinth of fragmented selves. Each image demanded acknowledgement, his triumphs, his failures, his loves, and his betrayals. He saw himself as both destroyer and creator, savior and exile. The weight of these truths bore down on him until he could no longer stand. Collapsing onto the crystalline floor, Kaelion surrendered, not to defeat, but to understanding. In that moment of surrender, the reflections began to shift. They did not vanish, but instead converged into a single figure, himself as he truly was, imperfect yet whole, finite yet infinite in potential. For the first time in his life, Kaelion felt no need for answers or absolutes. He understood that life's meaning was not found in certainty, but in embracing its contradictions, strength born from vulnerability, wisdom forged through doubt. Rising with newfound clarity, he spoke aloud. "I accept all that I am." Atheron's voice resonated warmly. "Then you are free. Carry this truth forward." As Kaelion returned to his ship, the world around him seemed transformed, not because Atheron had changed, but because he had. The crystalline sand shimmered more brightly. The winds carried whispers of unity rather than riddles. Before boarding his vessel, Kaelion turned back one last time to face the living planet that had guided him toward revelation. "What now?" he asked softly. Atheron's response was simple yet profound. "Share what you have learned with those still bound by their own illusions." Kaelion nodded solemnly and ascended into his ship's obsidian hull. Before departing, he etched an inscription onto its surface, a message for any who might encounter it among the stars. "Certainty is a chain. Freedom lies between questions unanswered and truths shared together." As his ship lifted off into the endless expanse of space, Kaelion felt neither closure nor finality, but an enduring sense of purpose. His journey was far from over. It had only just begun, an infinite dance between discovery and connection across the cosmos.